Starting to the bottom right, after DRG lost against the Terran player, he is the last man standing, the final boss for Team MVP. He is
MVP Super.
He has the perfect record against Terran. And he is up against a pretty good one. Already 2 points for his team. To the top left, we have LGIM.
LGIM Yoda.
Checks for proxies and puts his depot on the far left side of his base. A little bit tricky there. And we'll go for a barracks first opening. Sometimes you see a CC first on this map because of those faster minerals.
One of the things that is definitely very important to note, I mentioned this before when we go about the statistics, is that Super has a 9-0 map record against Terran. He defeated Gumiho, he defeated Kop, Byan, Maru, another time he took down Byan in the GSTL, and he took down Marine King. Yoda himself has a decent record on a 63% win ratio with 19 games played. He's still in a very good spot, but he needs to be quite careful here. He's warmed up, has already played a couple of games in the booth, but Super is the one that MVP relies on now. Yeah. He is the strongest player in their opinion to carry that momentum that they want to have into their final match.
He really is the last man standing here. Reaper is started for Yoda. He's going to get all the scouting information he needs. The probe is already aware of this. Probe going to leave as well. He's not going to try to stick around, see if it's a factor into play. He's pretty sure it's not. Only one gas for Super, so he hasn't gone for the mothership core.
Yeah, we have Reaper #1 is now going in. Oh, he's gonna jump out of the barracks in just a second, and let's see what's gonna happen here. Icarus is a map where we've seen crazy attacks, and one of the biggest problems that you have if you go for, or if your opponent goes for an aggressive strategy, is that you yourself have to make sure that you are not having a problem at your rocks at the natural. They are very exposed, and we've seen players just die because they didn't scout there. The rocks were taken out, and then we had a double-pronged attack, one in the main base and one in the natural. That can break your neck immediately, so you have to be very map aware.
Yeah, extremely so. Mothership core comes out here. We'll chase away the Reaper, but the Reaper is already going to get some of the information it wants. And he actually doesn't have any tech here, so because he only had one gas, he got the faster Nexus and didn't get Warp Gate research or even a Stalker. So now the assimilator is being added. So this information for the Reaper is very limited right now.
Both of them heading into their expansion at this point. The Marines, of course, rallied out for Yoda, whereas Super keeps his mothership core close. He's not gonna go for any kind of scouting with that, and the Reaper will immediately jump back here. He's not trying to commit here.
Definitely not. The factory coming up here, meaning that we're going to see some sort of drop follow-up, or at the very least Widowmine pressure coming out from Yoda. And he's just doing this dance of death with the mothership core. The Stalker will finally put an end to this, though.
Robotics tech for Super, and we could see Warp Prisms. We could, of course, also see that Immortal push that we talked about earlier. It's a really scary push against Terran players. If you don't see that coming, you are in a world of trouble. But even if you scout it, it is very, very powerful.
Yeah. One of the reasons why it's so important that you mentioned Warp Prisms is because on this map it's really easy to sneak a Warp Prism around the natural, force field the Terran army out of there, and then just go for harassment at the backdoor expansion. It takes a lot more force fields than trapping them out on a normal map, but it's still something we have seen specifically on this map before.
One bunker now at the front of the ramp, just making the save. We have the Observer coming out first, trying to find out what exactly is going on to the top left.
Yeah, and with this Observer, it kind of tells us right off the bat that we're probably not going to see an Immortal push, just going to see as standard as it gets, but an Immortal is started right afterwards.
Gets the Immortal now, and he wants, of course, also to find out where exactly those Widow Mines are positioned. We have mining going on for both of these players now. The Reaper finally getting in and getting those scouting information. He sees, of course, the expansion at the natural. It's not going to take anything down, most likely going to die here. Yep, will bite the dust, but at least he knows exactly what's going on. And as we already said, Immortal #1 is on the tap.
Yeah, he doesn't know about the Immortal. That's the one thing he doesn't know. Everything else is known to him, but what he does know is the possibility.
There's the second, and 2 additional gates. Warp Gate research is done. Immortal pushes are so scary against Terran, but we have Yoda sending out a drop, and this is something that Super might not account for. He sends the probe to the left, but if that probe doesn't see the medevac...
Oh, you think he's gonna see it? Oh, barely.
Yeah.
I don't know if he knows that. You know?
Well, I think he did, but let's find out. There's nothing at that natural.
This is such a strong push, but it's also a very predictable one. The Immortal very late here.
And those units here at the job are, of course, missing now at the top left. Here comes the job, trying to take down that economy. The Mothership Core immediately on the way. Widowmine gets a few hits. The rest of the Marines is dropped in the main base, and now Super has to make a choice.
Yeah, he has to make a choice. It looks like he's going to keep some of his units here for pressure. Sends the Mothership Core home. The second Immortal, though, arrives.
All those Marines are trying to take down as many of the probes as they can. There's the Immortal. It's spotted. We have one siege tank being built that would help with the defense.
Yeah, it's going to help with the defense quite a lot.
Second bunker nearly done.
Second bunker is also done, or nearly done. The nice one probe there for the Widowmine, so he's not going to lose any of these probes. He makes that second observer, so he will be able to now push this back.
The Widowmine is still there, and I'm not quite sure if he really knows about this.
He does.
He does. Yeah, he builds the observer. Okay, sorry, you already mentioned that. There we go.
A few more probes going down, though. He's losing a lot of mining time here, and this attack at the front, so far not any damage done, not even picking off a depot.
There's nothing. There's so few units that he has. This is so delayed. It's a big problem for Super. Yoda has siege tanks. He could have actually just moved that siege tank a little bit farther to the top so that he also covers the ramp here, and he actually knows everything that's happening. Yeah. Siege tank will very soon be in position.
Exactly. He'll be able to cover both edges if he sieges it up.
Yeah, there is the move in. Those sentries with force fields could do a lot, but the siege tank already the first hit.
He cannot lose those sentries. One more shot. That's why he scans. He also kills the observer.
That was so close. And the observer going down is also a big issue. He saves the sentries, but at the same time, the observer going down is a big problem for him.
No more vision except with his Mothership Core, but the Mothership Core, of course, not invisible. Going to take so much damage from any Marines or bunkers that gets nearby. When behind Dark Shrine is what they say. There's also a Warp Prism coming up, so we could see some DTs in the main, but already a turret next to the ramp.
Well, at this point, he needs at least 2 Dark Shrines to make this happen, because that Immortal push didn't do anything at all. It didn't even scare Yoda.
He's walking home with it, too.
Yoda is now just in a spot where he's like, alright, that went well. But the Dark Shrine is, of course, always a problem. So the question being, will Yoda scan? Will he find out what's going on? The turret in the base is really important, but we don't have one at the natural.
He has one at the natural, but it's really far away from his mineral line. So
yeah, you're right. I actually built one.
He could use this for detection, but it's not going to cover his mineral line, so he will probably have to scan. Then here comes the Hallucination Scout. He finds the positioning of the turrets, which is going to help him with his Warp Prism as well. Dark Shrine almost done, but Yoda, he's moving out right now, and he can actually fight this almost as soon as the force fields are gone. He can continue to split his Marines and pick off some Zealots.
Stim isn't done though, and also Combat Shield's still missing. The +1 attack upgrade, they all are going to line up very well, and I think he's at least going to wait for those upgrades. He scans the natural, but doesn't see the main base. DTs are being warped in now. The Warp Prism, of course, in position to the left side. The transition into Robotic Space for Colossi, and also the charge upgrade. But let's see what those DTs can do. There are 2 of them so far.
Yeah.
And it hasn't been identified yet, and there is no detection in the mineral line.
He just uses another scan here.
He sees it.
Okay, sees it this time. He has 1 scan left. He starts another turret in his middle line immediately. 1 more scan. 55 energy here. Both DTs revealed.
And no scan just yet. The missile turret is being built. He's trying to take down that SCV at the same time. Another warp in, move in at the natural.
He could actually get these siege tanks. Those Immortals do so much damage to siege tanks. He traps them out with those force fields. Nicely done here.
The force field shutting out the rest of the army, and now those siege tanks is trying to save them. He saves one, and he's trying to take down the Immortals. They are in a big problem here.
Yeah, they're in such a big problem here. That one DT is doing so much damage. A delayed pull here. Good force fields yet again. He will get the DT. A lot of damage done, though. He's down now to 32 Harvesters to 50.
11 Harvesters have been killed by Super, but still, Yoda has those additional mules, and he is currently looking at a +1 attack upgrade. He has Combat Shield, and Stim is nearly finished.
And so many medevacs. He has 6 medevacs already. He has a great Bioforce. If he can continue to defend the drops that are coming out, he has a great army that he can use to push out across the map.
Ghosts already.
Yeah.
Ghosts are, of course, great, but he needs a few Vikings. And, well, with all the medevacs that you just mentioned, he can easily switch.
Yes. Easily. There are a few Vikings here, but they're being used for drop defense right now, and they will...
Oh,
he should see it.
Oh, yes, he sees it, and he moves in right away.
He's going to drop the Zealots regardless, and the Zealots could do some damage here, but rallying units should be able to deal with them. The bigger problem is the push that's coming across the map. Army supply 20 up for Yoda right now. He has the lead upgrades for only a few more seconds.
No range, +1/+1 will not be done for Super. He might get the first attack upgrade, but if Yoda moves now, the armor upgrade is not going to be a problem. Main base, those Zealots are already gone. And Yoda is not committing yet.
I feel like Yoda has missed his timing window to use this Bioforce he has, and Super has not only taken, he's nearly passed him in supply, but he's taken a lead in upgrades here. He has the research for the Colossi, and he has the better tech regarding how many Vikings there are right now. The Viking count's still very low. He's adding 3 gateways, and he can add a 3rd Nexus very soon.
But to be quite honest with those ghosts, if he gets good EMPs against those sentries and against the rest of the army, this Bioforce could just shred everything apart. It's all about those Colossi, but we have a double Viking production now. And he's pulling the SCVs as well. He's pulling SCVs. There is no Storm, only 2 Colossi when that push is going to hit. And here comes another scan. We have the Vikings. 2 of them are being built. We will have 5 in a second, and that could be enough.
He may need to hallucinate some Colossi here to survive. There's a lot of Marines that's sorry, but they do have combat shields. There's a few Vikings. If Super holds this...
Look at that split. Look at that concave. Here comes the Terran army. He's moving in. He wants to take the game right now.
Good EMP here. The Colossi getting some good shots off. One of them being targeted. The Immortals in the back doing some damage. The beautiful Time Orbs and the Force Fields. Can Super manage to hold?
A great position here. 3 of those Colossi, and he's dancing back with them. Both of them dropping in supply, but it is Super.
The Immortals.
Opponent back. Those Colossi, they just don't die, but now it's the time for Yoda.
Yoda is trying to push through, but he cannot finish him off. He cannot finish him off. Your worker count now 52 to 15, and counter the 3rd Nexus is about to complete.
Oh my god, he actually held this. We had a 3rd Colossus here. I actually thought he only had 2, but he had a 3rd one as well, and that concave. And Yoda, he walked right into it.
The Force Fields and the Time Warps perfectly working together, synergizing a holy there. Now he's coming in here in the main base trying to do some damage. He doesn't really have enough forces to target very many structures down. He goes for the Bay, but he's not going to get it, and he needs to pull out.
Even if he gets it, he's going to lose too much to accomplish that. Yeah, look at this. He's going to lose way too much. He escapes with a single medevac.
Right now, the economy is so good for Super. He also has the better army. He could just literally walk across the map and end the game. As long as he has pylons at his bases for warpins like this one, should be totally fine here. This Terran Bioforce is not going to get anything done. The Zealots have charge now as well.
Yoda is trying what he can, but he is losing way too much. He is being chased back, and the Protoss player is in hot pursuit here, taking everything down. This is the game. This is GG.
You know, the DT was the one hero of this game. He killed something like, you said 11 workers. And then that forced Yoda to be a little bit uncomfortable. He didn't hit his timing where he had that better Bioforce, and Super was allowed to get good upgrades and get those that 3rd Colossus out.
But God was Super in a bad spot after that drop.
Oh yeah.
That delayed his attack for so long. He couldn't do anything with the Immortal attack. He couldn't hit that timing.
That was such a close game, and Yoda having some distinct advantages early on. But the DTs and those Colossi and the Micro in that fight, he could have still lost the game if it weren't for the Micro with his Force Fields, his Time Warps.
Dude, when he walked into that concave that Super set up, this was like watching an accident about to happen.
Yes.
We had everything just so well spread out, and even with the EMPs that he hit, it just was not enough. And then the Force Fields, they were perfect. The Time Warps were so beautiful, and the entire army of Yoda was just trying to walk past the Force Fields, and it took them forever to get there. And during all that time, the Colossi just ripping huge holes into the Bio army, taking down Marines and Marauders. It was just way too much there. It was so good.
Yeah, so good. And Super, he gets the first win.
Yeah.
1 out of 3 he needs to get his team to that 50,000 won, or 50 million won, excuse me. It's a lot of money. He wants his team to have that, and at this moment in time, the LGM coach is still probably feeling a little bit confident because he has 2 players left. But you know, as a Protoss player who does an attack and gets totally messed up with the timing and still is able to come through and win in a macro game against a really strong Terran, he's got to be feeling good. He's got some momentum on his side.
I would want to see a Protoss player now for a very simple reason. You could send out Kang Ho, but if you send a Protoss player out now, you can test the waters and see how well Super plays against him, and then still decide, do I want to send a second Protoss out or not? And
Squirtle.
It is Squirtle. I love it. The water Pokemon. We have the PvP. Great.
I like it a lot. This is you're so right, because if you send out your Zerg, you kind of put all your eggs in one basket, then you have to use a PvP. But in this case, sends out a Protoss versus Protoss, and then it's really, really up to him what he does next.
Exactly, then they can look at it and can like, okay, is Super shaky here? Is he today in a bad spot against Protoss versus Protoss? And then they can still decide to send Kangho out if they realize, well, Protoss versus Protoss, he looked really solid there. He lost, he won against Squirtle if he does so. He won because he was the better player, not because he got lucky. And then they can decide to send out a Zerg, for example.
Yeah.
Great choice here to bring out a Protoss first. We might even see a second one later. After a 5-minute break, guys, Super versus Squirtle might be the last game of the day, or Super could bring us into the ace game, into the last game of the day, into a best of 9 on the full distance. We're gonna find out at the GSTL finals at GOMTV.